The devastating arrival of the plague in Italy in 1348 had many unexpected effects. The negative ones are obvious: the loss of human life. In Florence, for example, the population was reduced by as much as 50%, and the diffusion of poisonous superstitions arising from ignorance about how the plague was spread, leading to horrific episodes of anti-Semitism and xenophobia. On the positive side, we might put the creation of extraordinary works of literature, music, art, and architecture. Since the outbreak of COVID-19, many people have spoken about the healing effects of looking at images of works of art. I think we can safely assume that our medieval and Renaissance ancestors also found solace in beauty. One direct effect of the plague that we can see in early modern works of art is the rise of the depiction of plague saints. One of the most popular of these had no direct connection to the plague, Saint Sebastian. Sebastian, an early Christian martyr, is usually shown while being shot at or pierced through with arrows. One theory for why Sebastian began to be invoked for protection against the plague regards precisely the arrows. In medieval manuscripts, the plague was often represented by arrows. Sebastian became a perfect vehicle because, contrary to popular belief, he was not killed by being shot through with arrows, but miraculously survived, an encouraging metaphor for those attacked by the plague that they too could hope to survive. Renaissance artists delighted in depicting the perfection of Sebastian's body. These devotional works provided an opportunity to demonstrate both their knowledge of human anatomy and their sophisticated responses to ancient sculpture. The works could be personalized by changing the setting from Rome, where Sebastian's martyrdom took place, to the city where the outbreak was underway, as Antonello da Messina did in an innovative depiction for a Venetian church. I am especially fond of Liberale da Verona's imitation of this for a church in Ancona. While the original is in the Brera Museum in Milan, a 17th century replica hangs in the chapel that serves as an entrance to Villa La Pietra, where my office is located and where I normally teach. The perfection of Sebastian's body has made him a modern gay icon, but the problematic nature of men gazing at the bared physique of a young, beautiful man must have begun to cause discomfort already by the end of the 16th century, under the ever more rigid social mores of Counter-Reformation Europe. By the 17th century, especially north of the Alps, devotional images of Saint Sebastian shifted to the next moment in his story, when his body was nursed back to health by Saint Irene. While Sebastian's body is no less languid or desirable in these images, the presence of women undoubtedly moderated the homoerotic effect of those that depicted the saint alone or with his torturers. These images were intended to demonstrate exemplary female behavior, but they also remind us of the role of women in the healing arts and in tending to the sick, both in the early modern era and today. It was not as unusual as we might think for early modern women to have had knowledge of medicine, and indeed, we have reports of women engaged in all kinds of scientific activity in the early modern period, especially in convents, where they are even documented performing autopsies on other members of their communities. I chose this painting as my final image for today. It is by Hendrik ter Brugghen, one of the Utrecht Caravaggisti, and it is a great treasure of the Allen Memorial Art Museum at Oberlin College. Seymour Slive, with whom I had the privilege of studying when I was a graduate student, called this ter Brugghen's masterpiece, and indeed, its composition and dramatic use of light make it unforgettable.